Hey guys, this is Lala Legacy and welcome back to another episode of Symphonic Rain. So let's jump right back in. No sooner said than done. She transferred to the seat next to me. Come on. Okay, so you're insisting on watching me? If I leave, you'll soon be driven away from this table for four, you know? I wouldn't mind. But I've already invested my time off to this task. What would I do if you left? Right, that would be bad. Well, it wouldn't be too much of a problem, really. Come on, it's seriously going to get cold. Trying my best not to mind the eyes on me, I cut a piece of lasagna, with my knife and brought it to my mouth. Delicious! Isn't it? For the most part, the credit is due entirely to myself. I've been doing this for 2 years, so I've become rather adept. Did you cook a lot before you started working here? To make sure I didn't get burned by the hot cheese, I carefully blew on it before eating, all the while continuing the conversation. Of course I did. That foundation is the source of my present excellence. I see. But this is really delicious. The lasagna I had at some other place once tasted like rubber. It was probably fake, though this trattoria is cheap and fairly small. We don't serve any low-grade meals. You seem happy when talking about it. Do you like cooking? Of course. You really can do anything, can't you? Whenever I look at you, I lose all confidence in myself. What do you mean? Well, I just thought that, compared to you, I really can't do anything. That's not true. I'm merely doing the things I like best. Handling requests, cooking, and singing, of course. She spoke in a happy, almost lyrical tone. It didn't seem like she was being humble. It appeared that those were her genuine feelings. Thanks for the meal. You're welcome. Was it good? Of course. I might come again if I have the opportunity. As a regular customer next time? Of course. Anyway, do I really not need to pay today? No. I told you it was a recompense, did I not? But if it would make you a regular patron, they probably wouldn't mind me putting it on the house. Haha, in that case, I would have to keep coming here. I'm not trying to advertise on their behalf, but you should really come again sometime. If the opportunity arises, gladly. Okay. Oops, my time's almost up. When does your break end? I only secured 30 minutes. Now I'll have to work for another 2.5 hours. Having a rough time? Oh no, I'm simply a little disappointed. About what? That my break is already over? She stood up and picked up the apron she had left on the chair. The other staff know about you, so you can leave whenever you're finished. Okay, thanks for the meal. See you later. She might have been more in a rush than I thought, as she hurried away while slipping her arm through the sleeve, disappearing into the kitchen without looking back. As for the food, I thought it was delicious, so I would probably visit again in the future. Although I didn't have qualms about cooking dinner for myself, it might be nice to eat out every so often. It was delicious. Thank you very much. I greeted the shop assistant standing behind the cash register and exited the premise. Ah, welcome back! How was it? Phorni was singing by herself in the same spot she had been in when I'd left the house. Noticing my arrival, she stopped instantly and turned my way. I'm home. So, how was it? Oh, it was pretty tasty. I see. Good for you. Something wrong? You're eating delicious food together with a girl. Didn't I explain that earlier? I did some thinking after that. Since she works there, that means you had her own cooking, didn't you? There are no guarantees about that, but in today's case, you're right. Ugh, jeez! If you've wanted to eat a girl's home cooking so badly, you could have just gone to Torta's place. I can't just decide that by myself. Besides, Torta's cooking is, well, you know. Phorni had apparently taken a liking to Torta after I had explained to her she was my childhood friend, so she would often try to push me in her direction. Oh, I know. How about I make you some? Okay, I'll bite. What will you make me? Food, obviously. Were you even listening to me? How? Is it even possible? I can do it. This is the second time today she'd showed me that confident grin. Sorry, impossible. Why? I have one thing to say to you. They've diminished. Idiot. That was how I got through my usual boring Saturday. Ari and Fal. I had a lot of important things to think about, but I decided to focus on the letter from Ari that would arrive tomorrow for now. I'd agreed to visit Nina before that, though, so I should make sure not to return too late. My body, heavy from a belly full of lasagna, gradually became permeated by a comfortable drowsiness. Okay, December 11th. After spending lunchtime in leisure, I shouldered my fortel and went out. Disregarding the usual rain, I hurried towards Torta's house. The district with the house I was headed for was situated right next to the student apartments. There were many very old, solitary houses in this area, and Nina's house, which she bought secondhand when she moved here, was no exception. It was surprisingly close to my apartment, so it only took about 5 minutes by foot. I walked towards a relatively large building at the other end of the narrow alley. I'm here! I'm here! Come in! Torta was all smiles as she greeted me at the entrance. Thank you for having me. I set foot into a room that gave off a familiar scent. Every time I entered this household, I was flooded with a feeling of nostalgia. Is that you, Chris? The sound of a creaking chair could be heard as Nina spoke to me. Yes, it has been quite a while. Nina faced me while rocking slowly in a bentwood chair. Come closer. Okay. I did as I was told and grasped the deeply wrinkled hand lying dormant on the armrest. You've gotten big. It has only been half a year since then, Mrs. Fine. I do not grow that fast. There you go, acting all mature again. She told me with a gentle voice and looked me in the eye. Or rather, she attempted to look me in the eye. Her narrow, barely opened irises were clouded, and she was almost unable to see anything nowadays. That's right! It really doesn't suit him. A very long time ago I had called her Granny, just as Torta still did. Nina talked about it as though that was only yesterday. Being treated like that wasn't unpleasant at all. But being treated like a child was starting to feel a little awkward now that I was at an age where I was expected to show courtesy to seniors. In any case, it has been a long time. That is quite all right. Since you brought your fortel, I presume you shall be performing for me too, or for me, no? If my abilities will suffice. I am sure you've improved over time. I cannot guarantee that. You said the same thing last time. You should have more confidence in your capabilities. Impossible! He's been like this forever. He isn't going to change that easily. Torta, that was uncalled for. I'm complimenting you. Well, thanks. You never change. Just like I said, right? You too, Torta. You always seem to lash out at him like that. Granny! So, what will you perform for me today? I could perform any piece I have sufficiently practiced, I answered, then began preparing my foretell. Although I only came a few times a year, visiting Nina's house to perform for her had become somewhat of a customary routine. Nina often went to recitals like the ones held in the concert hall, so it was a little embarrassing for us students to perform for her. But Nina always looked forward to these visits. So, besides simply recalling the past, I played the foretell whenever I dropped by. Then how about that piece you played before? What was it called again? The one he played before? That's not enough information. Your definition of before could very well mean many years ago. In that case, how about playing all the pieces we've ever played here? You're unusually diligent. I'm impressed that you didn't start complaining. I'm always serious. That's right, Chris is always serious. Huh? No, sorry, I lied. I had expected Torta's complaints, but having it affirmed like that made me feel embarrassed, or rather ashamed. As long as you shall perform for me, I do not mind what you play. If you were going to apologize, you shouldn't have said it to begin with. It's all because your reaction was too slow. Don't pin the blame on someone else. Torta struck my side with her elbow, and then began her singing preparations. Nah. Anyway, I finished some basic vocal exercises, so I'm ready when you are. I'm almost done as well. Nina slowly entrusted her body to the chair, making herself comfortable for the upcoming performance. Somehow, even that minor gesture aroused nostalgia within me. Feeling slightly remorseful for not visiting in such a long time, I pledged to myself to perform more earnestly than ever today. For starters, I lightly traced my finger along the keyboard and struck a note. The crystalline sound of my foretell reverberated through the room, prompting Nina to turn slightly toward me. The house itself was large, and in this area there was no one who would regard a musical performance as an annoyance. I slightly adjusted my position to make sure Nina would be able to hear it as well, then turned to face Torta. Excluding practice for the graduation recital, without opportunities like these, I would almost never get to play together with her. So I was a little bit nervous. Anytime you're ready. Okay, just start with some piece I know well. Got it. Exhaling deeply, I looked Torta straight in the eye. We didn't need any words to signal the start. I inhaled some air to synchronize with her respiration, then gently started playing my keyboard. First, we played some famous pieces we had learned after coming to the Institute. Nina sat motionlessly, as though she had fallen asleep, simply letting her body be overtaken by the waves of sound. But after less than an hour, our repertoire was exhausted, and we had to resort to playing pieces we picked up here and there, and pieces we learned when we were small. Even so, as long as Torta knew those songs, there wasn't much of a problem. But at times, I would start a piece she didn't know the lyrics to and continued playing without breaking off, provoking a laugh from Nina. And afterward, Torta would get mad at me. But those moments were amusing in their own way, and I felt as though it were the first time I had genuinely enjoyed a performance in quite a while. The time the three of us spent relaxing after dinner had gone by in the blink of an eye. As for what we talked about, it was naturally about all of my endeavors. Nina was inquisitive about the smallest of things that even Torta didn't know of, and before I noticed, I had been absorbed in the conversation until late at night. It's getting a little late. I'd better go home soon. Chris, thank you for coming today. Nah, I'm sorry for not coming more often. Without realizing it, I had relaxed my manner of speech as well. I always tried to be very polite every time I came here, but then inevitably messed up when it was about time to go home. Don't force yourself. Just come whenever you feel like it. I will, I answered honestly. Nina gently nodded, then grasped my hand one final time. If she had told me to come again soon, I would probably have pledged to do so with a smile on my face. But since the relationship between Torta and I was a bit complicated right now, I found myself unable to propose this myself. See you tomorrow! At the front door, Torta continued to me in a whisper so only I could hear it. Thanks for today. Yeah, see you tomorrow. After one last healthy intake of the nostalgic air in the house, I went outside. The incessant rain felt cold to the touch, so I put my coat back on tightly and hurried along the road home. You're late! I'm home. Sorry I'm late. What about the reply to Ari? Will you make it in time? You're worried about the ensemble, not the letter, aren't you? Sorry, but I'll have to pass today. I'm exhausted. What are you talking about? Just hurry up and write your reply, then. Taking tomorrow into consideration, I'll have my hands full with just writing the letter. Huh? You really can't? We'll do it twice as long next time, okay? And I waited for so long. Like I said, I'm really sorry about that. Mania! There was nothing I could do about it. Besides, it wasn't like it had to be on a Sunday. I could perform with her for a bit tomorrow as well. Sorry, Phorni. I didn't know if she was still listening, but I told her so in a tiny voice, then decided to forget about the matter for the time being. Well then, although I had been deep in talk at Torta's place, I had eaten until my belly was full, and now I had to make effort not to fall asleep on the spot. Looking at the pretty writing of the letter, a sense of relief overcame me, and I became sleepy once again. To make myself a bit more comfortable, I lay down on my bed before reading the letter. Dear Chris, is it still raining over there? The rain that was falling last week quickly ended, and now the skies are completely translucent again. Sometimes I wonder how it feels to live with rain eternally falling down from the sky. If it were possible for you to share some of your weather with me, I would gladly accept. I can already picture your face in my mind telling me I'm just being silly, but those are my honest feelings. How is the search for your graduation partner coming along? I suppose I ended up on this subject again, but right now, that is what's most important, so forgive me. It isn't really about Torta or whomever you find to be your partner, but about playing well at this important event that will influence your graduation. I hope you'll find a nice person soon and practice well. I would feel bad if that were all I was going to write you about, so I will write a bit about myself now. I got employed at this bakery around the same time you and Torta entered the institute, so I've been here for over 2.5 years. Although I have been reporting minute details to you, I have not yet told you officially, I suppose. Anyway, by now I am allowed to do all the baking from start to end by myself. I am incredibly busy every day, but I believe I have perfected it to a point just like you have your music. I hope I will be able to let you taste my delicious bread sometime. I am looking forward to that day. Arietta. Bread made by Arietta, huh? Since I was full, I didn't really want to think about food, but I felt something like that could still manage to fit. Phorni? I left the letter next to my pillow and muttered, "Wake me up a little earlier tomorrow. I can't write a reply anymore." Burying my face in my pillow, the border of the dream world was already in sight. Good night. Wake up! I had a feeling someone was yelling in my ear, telling me to wake up. It seemed the reminder of my fatigue hadn't dissolved quite yet. Or the remainder, sorry. I didn't want to open my eyes, much less get up, as I still felt sluggish. Jeez, you were the one who said I had to wake you up! December 12th. But that is all the time that I have for this episode, guys. So if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already subscribed, by subscribing, you're becoming part of a legacy. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!